Somebody asked me recently if the extra money Toyota is asking for the 2024 Toyota Tacoma is worth it when it comes to tech and ride quality. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. First, I'll give you a quick view inside the new Tacoma. When you're talking about tech, of course, you're talking about the new gauge cluster area, the new radio setup, although I don't know that there's really a huge difference in screen quality, but we'll talk about that. And of course, the new knobs and levers and shifter and drive modes and all that kind of stuff. The new setup as far as the dash goes, those kind of things. Real quick, before we take off, take a look at the mirror over there. Hopefully you can see. I love having that blind spot mirror there, not for driving around in traffic, but for pulling up against things. You can see in the mirror that I'm up against the curb area, which fortunately is just a flat curb, but if it weren't, I would risk damaging my wheels or tires by scraping against one of those concrete curbs. With that little cheapo mirror on there, I can see it all, and you can see in the mirror itself, you can't see down there to see where you're at in comparison to the curb area. So anyway, I just think it's a definite must for any truck, whether it's a Tacoma or not. It doesn't matter, because you just can't see where your tires are. Anyway, let's take off. We're going to talk about the value you get and the money you pay for the new Toyota Tacoma. Okay, so let's talk about it. Value in paying the extra money for the 2024 Toyota Tacoma. And that's what it's really about, right? Do you get enough value out of it for the extra money that you're going to spend? Now, first of all, let me give you a little detail on mine. I figure I paid about $3,000 more than I would have had to for this 2024 Tacoma. And how do I arrive at that? Well, the price on this truck for me was about $6,000 more than what I had paid for Gen 3 TRD version. And that was about $38,000 plus some change. I'm rounding up and down. So you wonder, well, how did I only pay about $3,000 more? That would mean you paid $41,000. That's well below their asking price. Well, I come up with that because I figure you would have spent at least $3,000 more for a redesigned brand new truck than you would have paid for a third gen. So I am forgetting about $3,000 of that $6,000 difference. But if you want to be technical, I guess, it cost me $6,000 more than I would have paid for a $38,000 TRD version prior or before. So let's talk about value. What did I get? What did I get in this truck? Well, first of all, I got a 4-cylinder turbo engine. And a lot of people don't like that. They want that V6. I've had a lot of people even tell me that they think it should have a V8 in it, which, by the way, I think is kind of absurd, right? I mean, you're not going to get a V8 in a Toyota Tacoma. It would be nice, and I would love to see it. However, with my $50,000 ceiling, I won't pay $50,000 for a mid-size truck any more than $50,000. That would put it out of my range, because I'm sure a V8 Tacoma would be more than $50,000. But anyway, the 4-cylinder turbo. Is it worth it? It's worth it to me, and it's worth it to me in that I've got a truck that's actually fun to drive stock, as opposed to the third gen where it was not fun to drive stock. It's peppy, it's quick, the acceleration is what it should be, I think, for a mid-size truck. I mean, without hauling anything in it, you don't even have any weight, right? Nothing to bog it down. So there is value in it for me in having that 4-cylinder turbo. Now, I know a lot of people are going to have a problem with that because they're concerned about the longevity and the capability of that 4-cylinder turbo. I, however, am not. So it's kind of a personal choice, a personal preference kind of thing, really. Next up, what about the suspension? You know, one of the big things that Toyota did with this truck is to put a new suspension in the rear end. And man, does it make a difference. I would say if you were to get in this truck, close your eyes, go for a ride, you probably wouldn't even know you were driving around in a truck. It's that good. Is it worth it to me? Was there enough value in it? Honestly, when I went to look at the truck, the first time I drove one, I didn't even consider that. I didn't even realize it, I don't think, until I actually took off and was driving the truck and experienced how much smoother it was. And it was significant enough that it actually stuck out to me without looking for it from the beginning. You see, what I was really looking for was acceleration, power. How did it feel? Would it be gutless? I wasn't really focusing on the suspension, but it was a pleasant surprise and just added another facet, another point of value to the truck for me. Now, let's talk about appearance. I probably should have mentioned that first because obviously that's one of the first things you're going to notice. It is the first thing you're going to notice when you go to look at the truck, right? What's it look like? Well, it is different. It is different for sure. They made it look chunkier, which makes it feel bigger. It feels like a bigger truck to me, almost bordering on the feel that you get in a full-size truck. Obviously, it's not a full-size truck, but it just kind of starts to have that feeling, right? And I like that. It doesn't really feel like I'm driving around in a small truck anymore. I think they did a good job with it. I know the design, the creasing, the body panels, all that stuff is rather polarizing. But if you take a close look between the two trucks, they didn't really add anything more to it. I mean, they put different fender flares on it. They put different, deeper creases in the doors. I guess there is one thing that they added, and that's right back there at the top, that bill, that hat look that it has on the back. It's probably the only thing when it comes to aesthetics or appearance that I don't like about the new Tacoma. Not enough to keep me from buying it. And honestly, by putting a sport bar on the back, I kind of muted that anyway. It doesn't stand out. It's not as apparent as it is without that sport bar on the back. So I kind of took care of that myself. So is there value in the design, the look of the truck? I think there is. There is for me. I mean, you know, when you're looking for a redesigned version, you don't really expect to have the same truck, do you? I mean, don't you think you would want something different? I did. I expected something different, but I still expected it to be Tacoma-like. And this truck certainly is. It looks like a Tacoma. It still feels like a Tacoma on the inside. It's not like when I jump in this truck, I'm lost and think I'm riding around in a Hugo or something. I think they maintained the Tacoma aura, if you will, but changed it enough so that one could call it a redesign. Anyway, the general question, was there enough value in it for me to pay an extra $3,000 or $6,000 if you're being picky? I would say absolutely there was. Just the powertrain and comfort improvements alone in this truck make it worthwhile for me. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. From what you've seen or maybe experienced in the 2024 Tacoma, is there enough value in it for you or not so much? I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.